They told you to work more. It's a lie. And I can promise you, no one has ever told you what I'm going to share with you about money. I'm going to answer the question that is tearing our country apart right now. Actually, it's not coming. It's already happening right before your very eyes. Welcome back to the channel. No agenda, no politics. I'm not here to sell you a single thing. I know. Shocker. I will never even ask you to like, subscribe, or share the video. Just the truth and how the system works. And I have to be honest with you, the last week, I went down some really dark rabbit holes. And let's just say that the elites that are in charge, they have something currently up their sleeve. And if you thought war and inflation was bad, buckle up, Buttercup. And about a week ago, someone sent me something on TikTok. I know, down the dopamine rabbit hole I went, but it's actually what America is feeling.
Just don't eat, get rid of your phone, sell your car. That's literally the kind of advice I've been seeing about how to budget better right now. And at that point, that's not even budgeting anymore. That's just removing your entire quality of life just to survive. Like, when did the solution become cutting everything out of your life instead of questioning why it takes this much just to live? Because I don't think that people are wrong for feeling like something is just not working anymore.
Now, did you catch the last line? Quote, "No one can answer the bigger question." I will. What does it take this month just to live a normal life? End quote. Well, the good news is I have the answer. And the answer has nothing to do with how hard you're working. And let me show you the simplest explanation that I could ever come up with. I was gonna hold up a Coke can. Hold on, let me go get a Coke can. Also, that glass was false advertising. It's actually really good. I have to be honest, not sponsored by anything, but track with me on this one while the camera tries to figure out focus. You get paid 25 cents an hour. This Coke costs 25 cents. Perfect. It's back to me. You can afford it. Next year, the Coke is 30 cents. You're still making 25 cents, but you get a raise. You bang down that door and you complain. Now you're making 28 cents. You feel good about that, but now the Coke is 35 cents. Every single year that goes by, the distance between what you earn, hold on, here's what you earn. Actually, I grabbed the silver quarter because it's actually worth a lot, believe it or not, because it's an asset. It's made out of real silver, but we can use this. So you get paid. Well, actually, no, because we were sticking with a quarter, right? All right. So Coke can and what you get paid, a quarter, which you were making a quarter. Now, what are you, 28 cents? And then this goes to 35 cents every single year that goes by. It starts separating. Now, here's the question no one's asking this. Who keeps up? The person who sells the Coke. Here, hey kids, you want to buy some Coke? Because you raise the prices. That's it. The seller keeps up. The worker falls behind. This is what's happening to you. You started out getting paid here, and now it's separating. This is what's currently happening. Mathematically, the system, this is what's happening for decades. Now here's the proof. The average annual household income in the U.S. this year, I'll put it up on the screen. January, $87,000. June, $88,000. 6 months, $1,000 increase on a $87,000 income. That's a 1% raise. Well, 1.2%. Inflation is running a hell of a lot higher than that. The Coke is going up faster than your paycheck every single month, automatically. Now, here's the number that should stop everyone cold or spin your head around. Americans married. Here we go. You know, you want a white picket fence, right? Isn't that the American dream? Shelter, married, maybe have some kids, and scratch that. Owning a home, married, age of 30. In 1950s, it was 50%. 2010, 25, and the year that you are currently living in, 2026, 12%. In 1950, it was half. Now it's 1 out of 8. Do you see how this mathematically is going? but now it's going to get worse. And this is the same country, the same dream, completely different reality.
We got to cut the millennials and Gen Z some slack because this isn't ordinary. They are moving the goalposts so quickly on the middle class because of the housing. Even that slide you just brought up, someone making $77,000 cannot qualify for a $400,000 home. That's the first time that's ever happened in the past 50 years. So they're being forced to rent. It's eating up 50% of their income.
50+% say we're in a recession. 58% say the economy is getting worse. It's not. By all objective measures, it's getting better. People keep feeling worse. Why is that?
I think it depends on the age, because I think we're kind of living in two separate economies, if you will.
Now, did you catch that? Someone making $77,000 cannot qualify for a $400,000 home. That's the first time that has happened in 50 years. So what happens? They rent. And rent eats up 50% of their income. And 58% say the economy is actually getting worse. So right now, 60%. It's getting worse. And the data says it's gonna continue to get worse. Well, that's if you understand where money comes from. Go watch my previous videos. It's a debt-based system, K-shaped economy. You are gonna basically own nothing, right? You guys read about that? But it's okay. In the end, you will be happy. But what's happening right now, two things are happening simultaneously. We are living in two completely separate economies. The economy I live in and the economy that everyone else lives in. And if you're over 60, you got your house paid off, everything is great. If you're under 40, you're not surviving. The economy is a completely different planet. Now, here's the question that everyone has been screaming on screen. Why do they keep raising prices? Can't they just chill for a moment? Or stop? I'm going to answer that question. And the answer is going to sound insane, but stay with me. Prices can only stop rising under two circumstances. Number one, the Treasury has to completely stop issuing bonds. They're not going to stop that. Number two, stop borrowing, also known as stop creating new money. So stop the bonds, stop the banks. If that happens, the money supply collapses. Credit freezes, the economy stops. We all feel it immediately. It's a catastrophe. Oh, and number two, I mentioned it, the banks stop making loans. All credit freezes, same result. World ends. But here's what it means in plain language. The system requires perpetual price increases to survive. I know this is not something you want to hear. My apologies, but you're in a debt-based system, so they need to keep the game going. And during the game, they say, oh, no, there is no inflation. What is inflation?
Before I begin today, I want to say a word about the news that came out today relative to the economy. Actually, I just want to say a number. 0. Today, we received news that our economy had 0% inflation.
And then everyone wants to point the fingers. It's the Fed, it's the president, it's the politicians, and everyone fights. But I want you to know where this inflation comes from. It is not the Fed. It comes from the banks. The banks issue loans, and they are issuing it like drunken sailors right now. And then you have the bond market. You have the Treasury. They are issuing bills like never before at high rates. They are also buying bills, bonds, long dated, that have high rates. Actually, I lied. They have low rates. Remember when you're like, hey, I think I'd like to take out a loan at 0%. Yeah, I think that's great. We'll buy a house at 0. By the way, that was a really good time to purchase a property at free. But now all of those loans are coming due, almost $9 trillion. Right now, by the end of the year, $9 trillion, and they're having to refinance that at ridiculous rates that they are losing control of. The Fed has lost control. They were just supposed to raise rates. The 2-year, their mandate, I know what they say. The mandate is inflation expectations, and okay, throw that away. They just follow the 2-year yield. That's it. The new guy ain't following the 2-year. he kept it the same. What happened to rates? Skyrocket. The Fed does not have control over interest rates. I would say yes, they have control at the very short end, but even that is going up. So you have the long end going up. You have everything going up. The people with the money know, they know something big is going to happen. This is inflationary. This is long-term inflation. Even a professor, well, a doctor, a double doctor, Lacey Hunt, I have followed him forever, macro guy. Really wise. He'll never say anything like me, like, oh, the world's going to end. He's like, so there's going to be some problems. But even he is a big bond guy because the bond market is 4 times, 5 times that of the stock. It's everything. It's the whole world. It's a debt-based system. The bond market controls the stock market, controls the politicians, controls everything. And he has always been deflation. Always. He flipped. And starting this year in January, the Fed started QE. I know they didn't call it QE. I can throw up some charts. They're buying like drunken sailors. And the Treasury is printing like drunken sailors. I probably shouldn't. Actually, sailors are respectful. Our government is drunken and they are not. But back to the system, the inflation system that you're in. Again, you haven't seen anything yet. Once it starts, it really starts to move, and they can't control it. And to me, this is frightening. Now, you constantly need this beast system that they created, a debt money system, the beast system. You need more money, and it needs to grow. Otherwise, it dies. You're not going to like it when it dies, so just follow me. So it always needs, the debt clock needs to grow. If you stop expanding, the system collapses overnight. But here's how it affects you. So you stop the expansion, the system collapses. Keep the expansion, the Coke keeps getting more expensive. There's no third option inside the current system. And it's not an accident. This is actually by design. This is the M2 money supply. Every dollar that exists in the United States economy. Watch what happens in 1971. The line that was relatively flat for decades suddenly turns vertical. Now, that's not coincidence. That's a specific decision made on a specific date by a specific person. Would you like to know who that is? That'd be Tricky Dick. August 15th, 1971. But it started before that. You had Bretton Woods. You had, like, it's a system which ends up, the banks can lend money even though they have nothing. Money out of nothing. Free money at 0% interest rates. Now it's not free money anymore. The rates are climbing really fast. And now we have to pay back that 40 trillion or the unfunded liabilities of, say, 100 trillion at a higher rate. And they're going to pass that on to you. You're going to have to pay for it. But back to 1971, before that date, every dollar was backed by gold. You couldn't create infinite dollars because you couldn't create infinite gold. The Coke, this guy right here, couldn't keep going up forever because the money supply couldn't keep going up forever. But after that date, there's no anchor, there's no limit, there's no constraint on how many dollars could be created. And the Coke is continuing to go up. And I haven't even talked to you guys about the euro dollar, which is so much bigger than what's happening right now. Everyone's like, oh, look at the M1, M2, M3, M4. Look at the euro dollar. Everyone is taking out loans in dollars. Well, they have. So if you want to talk about a flustercluck, it's happening in the world. Look at what is happening in Asia. Their markets are collapsing. Why? Why are their stonks going up and down like this, like there is no buyers? It's because there is no dollars and people get confused. But the world is short dollars. That causes volatility, the highest you have ever seen before. And what the rest of the world is doing right now, you'll hear this in the news. Oh, they're selling treasuries. Oh, the dollar going to zero. They're selling treasuries because they have to manipulate their currency. And so what they do is they sell treasuries. They'll sell U.S. treasuries, which that's bad too. It's like shooting yourself in the foot. But they'll sell U.S. treasuries, and what do they receive? They receive dollars. Then they're like, okay, let's solve our currency problem. And you might hear about it. Oh, it's the yen carry trade. That's what's currently happening. So when you see the DXY or the dollar gain strength, people are like, that's good, a strong dollar. It's not good. I know it sounds counterproductive, like you want a strong dollar. You don't want a strong dollar. It's destroying the system because the world has taken out dollar-denominated loans, and now the dollar's stronger and their currency's weaker, and now they have to pay the loan back, and the rate's going up. It's a gigantic flustercluck. But now let me go back to 1971. Let's go back to the Great Depression. Let's go back to World War II, Bretton Woods, when they're like, here, this will solve it. It's also where it gets completely unconstitutional. And I want to be very precise about this because the credibility matters on mine, and it does you too. You have the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8. Congress shall have the power to coin money and regulate the value thereof. That would be this stuff. Congress, not a private institution. Congress. We're talking about the Fed. And you know how they came up with the Federal Reserve Act to have the Fed that's not Fed and it's not constitutional. But anyways, you need that part in the Ponzi scheme to work to create money out of thin air and then not have to use silver. Even though, right, the Constitution says it can only be silver and gold because your founding fathers knew exactly what would happen. But the banksters knew, hey, let's create this outside thing called the Fed, and we'll have an act. And the Fed has shareholders. That's crazy, huh? Also known as a corporation. But now, let's go back, and I'm going to show you exactly what happened. November 1910. We'll make sure I'm not saying 2010. A private rail car leaves New Jersey at night. Hoboken, to be exact. The passengers, the dudes, the banksters, travel under fake names. You can read a book about all of this. It is Jekyll Island. They tell anyone who asks them, or anyone that asks them, hey, where are you guys going? Oh, we're just going duck hunting. And on that train, a United States Senator, the Assistant Secretary of the Treasury, but wait, it gets better, the senior partner at J.P. Morgan Chase, but at the time it was just J.P. Morgan, the president of what is now Citibank, two international banksters. And they travel to Jekyll Island off the coast of Georgia. They work in secret for 9 days, which you know things must be pretty good if God created the earth in 6 and then took a break. 9? So you know they're cooking up something. And what they wrote on the island, well, it wasn't on the island, they wrote it on paper, with only minor changes, was called the Federal Reserve Act of 1913, which I kind of just told you about. The law gave private banks control over the money supply in the United States. Oh, and here's something else. They denied meeting for 20 years. Let me say that again. They denied meeting for 20 years. You know the banksters and your government was cooking something. But you know they knew. If American people found out that the law controlling their money was written in secret by the very bank supposed to regulate it, they'd never accept it. So they hid it. And lo and behold, the Federal Reserve, not federal, it's a private institution owned by its member banks. If you want, you can Google it, the shareholders, and it doesn't reserve anything. As of March 2020, the reserve requirement, sometimes people argue with me on this one, it's zero, nothing. They don't have, you could write the word bank on a wall and issue money all day long. Loans. How much money do you have to have? Zero. Banks are legally required to hold $0 before making a loan. It used to be 10%. Do you see? Every situation, what was the last one called? Pandemic? Oh, I'm sorry. Was this not planned? Just checking. Almost lost my other channel on that one because I was telling the truth. But I am telling you the truth. The banks don't need 10%. They don't need 1%. They need 0 to give you money. Banks loan money they don't have legally. Since 1913, while you work more and fall farther behind because of this. You see this? This is happening every single day of your life until it goes off the screen. The founding fathers saw this coming. Thomas Jefferson, never met him, but he wrote, quote, "I believe the banking institutions are more dangerous to our liberties than standing armies." And the Constitution itself, Article 1, Section 10, says no state shall make anything other than gold and silver coin a tender in payment of debts. Gold and silver, not Federal Reserve notes, aka just a big fat IOU. Not debt instruments created by private banks from nothing. Gold and silver, here, right here. And the document that founded this country prohibited the system we are currently living inside of. Thank you, Federal Reserve. Thank you, Congress, for these beautiful acts. But the people who have built this system, which I explained to you, and they pass them down to their children. But what I teach you about on this channel and my other channels, buy assets. But first you're like, what's an asset? Okay, I'll teach you. Been teaching about it for thousands of years, I feel like. University, high school. Buy assets. Everyone who's listened to me has done really well. Actually, the ones who put it into action, like start businesses, that's the first one. Then buy assets and then trade equities, you're golden. Then after you've done that, you set up trusts and corporations. And I'll explain it in under 10 seconds. You buy an apartment. You put normies in there. Those are the ones that tighten up their belt. They're like, oh, it's just getting so hard. Well, you got to tighten up your belt. You got to work more jobs. You got to, right? It's how it's going to be. Anyways, come rent from me. You will pay off my asset. They will. They'll pay off my asset. Thank you. So then my $5 million asset gets paid off. Then I have $5 million. Track with me. I say, hey, bank, can I have $5 million? Because I have $5 million. Look at that. Look at that beautiful apartment. And it's 99% rented. Sure. Here's $5 million. Thank you very much. What am I going to do with that $5 million? Am I going to pay taxes on it? Well, lo and behold, you don't pay taxes on debt. Now I have $10 million. I almost feel like a bank. What am I going to do with that? I'm going to buy another asset. Then I'm going to take that and I'm going to learn how to click buttons on a screen and double it and buy more assets. That's what that is the elites. That is the system. And no, you are not going to learn about it. You're not going to learn about it in college. You're not going to learn about it in high school unless you took my class, then you learned about it. But now we have the frustration. Insert new TikTok video.
Begin transmission.
Here we go.
I feel like the reason all these artists are canceling their tours, Meghan Trainor, Post Malone, etc., it's not because their music sucks. People will watch anything. It's the same reason why movie theaters are dying. It's the same reason why no one's having any kids. It's the same reason why no one will ever have a house. And it's because no one has any money. Did we just forget that? Why is there always some think piece about, oh, why doesn't Gen Z want to do this? Why is Gen Z killing this industry? People want to have lives, they just can't, because they don't have anything money. You think we want to live like this? You think we want to own nothing, and all we have is maybe a little subscription here and there, and eat like shit? No! That's all we can do! You just strangle us our whole lives, and you're like, why aren't you breathing? Why don't you want to breathe? What? You're doing it! You're charging more and more for everything, but you're not paying more! This whole country is just a couple greedy billionaires going, give me more! But it's not enough, because it'll never be enough! They want you to love them, too. Oh, look, I'm at the Met Gala. Aren't I cool? You're the reason that we're in this. You're the reason that we can't go to concerts, and we can't go out, and we can't start a family, and we can't own a home. But thank God that we get to see you in a dress and your bald head on the red carpet. So excuse me for not paying $300 to go see Meghan Trainor. I'm sure she's fine. I'm sure she's a great performer, but I'm not gonna see it because I dang can't, and I don't want to.
And this is what it looks like when that system runs on ordinary people for long enough. The goalposts keep moving. The dream keeps receding. The math keeps getting worse. And the solution the system offers every single time is the same answer. Work more, second job, side hustle, monetize your hobby, go back to school, more hours, more labor, more time sold. And what's the most important thing in life? It's your time. And I teach you, that's why I come here, is I teach you how can I get back time? But the system never offers the actual answer, because the actual answer requires understanding of what money actually is, and no one will tell you about it. And even when I say money is debt, people are like, ha ha, you're an idiot, you and your hair. Why would I take advice from someone who looks like you? Well, I don't know, you take advice from Dave Ramsey and he has no hair up here, he only has it on the sides. But okay, or maybe you take advice from Donald Trump. I don't think he has anything up here. I'm just saying. Just saying. But they built an entire education system. I know. I taught it. And they didn't want me to teach it. And I said, go pound sand. I also said, go ahead and fire me. The amount of times I should have been fired. I just couldn't do it. But there is an entire world specifically to make sure you never ask the question of what is money? Where does it come from? What is it? Every dollar in your wallet was created from a loan. It's the banksters. But your dollar isn't printed. It's not earned into existence. It's borrowed. You are living in a debt-based system. When a bank approves your mortgage, they don't take money from someone else. They don't like, well, let's get it out of Barbara's savings account. They type numbers into a computer. That number didn't exist before they typed it. Now it does. And when you get a loan from a bank, it is an asset. A loan to them is an asset. When you deposit money, that's actually a liability. They don't want it. And when you pay the loan back, the money does what? It disappears. It gets deleted. That does not happen in a gold-based system. Gold just moves. But the system that you are currently in requires new borrowing, more. And then you have that thing called inflation. But the Treasury just needs to keep issuing more bonds and more bonds and more bonds. They can't stop, which means new dollars keep getting created, which means the Coke gets more expensive, which means your paycheck, you're falling behind. Now, here's the final piece, and it's the part that connects right now, well, today, everything that I'm showing you. The Treasury right now is issuing massive, and I told you this earlier, amounts of short-term Treasury bills, not the long-term one, T-bills that mature in 4 weeks, 8 weeks, 3 months. In 2025, 84% of government debt issuance was short-term T-bills. This is horrible. And when the Treasury issues these T-bills and spends that money, it goes directly into the economy, into bank accounts, into paychecks, into, I don't know, are you a contractor? Into contractor payments, into Social Security checks, Medicare, Medi-Cal, Medicaid, whatever. More dollars, same amount of Cokes. And simultaneously, the Federal Reserve has been buying short-term bills since December in what one of the most respected economists alive, well, the most respected economists called it stealth QE, but they won't call it QE. Bank loans right now are growing. Loans are growing. Money is being created. 14% this year. So that means money supply is growing between 9 to 14%. And now you have two hoses pumping money into the same economy at the same time. The Treasury hose, the Fed hose, buying these short ones that are just flipping it. We weren't seeing this inflation effect when it was buying 30 years. You're seeing it at the 1 month. But both of them are making the Cokes more expensive. Both of them widening the gap between your paycheck and everything that you need to survive. And I wouldn't recommend surviving off of this, but you get the point. And what is the solution? The boomers and everyone tells you, work more. Hey, no, stop. I said they're lying to you. It could have worked for them. Well, when they were in this system, yeah, work more. But now it's not work more. You need to own more. The person who owns the company that makes the Coke keeps up, because when the price goes up, their revenue goes up. Their assets go up. Their net worth goes up. You can even take out loans on the company. A loan. Oh, how much do I have to pay the IRS for this debt? Oh, nothing? Great. I'll do some more. But the person that's selling their labor to make the Coke falls behind because their paycheck is denominated in the same dollars that keep losing value. And the tax code knows this. Capital gains, what you earn from owning things, taxed at 20%. Wages, you don't want wages. That's for the normies. You're taxed at 37%. The system literally taxes you more for working and not owning. And yet the only solution to the system, here's the solution. Here's what the system offers, all the guys, all the old dudes, I think you should just work harder, which is that's not financial advice right, Dave? Tighten up the belt and go get an Uber job. You're not going to make it. And right now, this system is going parabolic. So Ramsey's screaming voice is going to get a lot louder. I would not want to be a caller on the other end. But the founding fathers put gold and silver in the Constitution because they understood what happens when you let private institutions create unlimited money from nothing. We are living in the answer to that question right now. You're seeing it, you're feeling it, you're breathing it. The 12% of Americans under 30 who own a home understand deep inside their bones, and they probably don't understand. Maybe they don't understand. Well, because no one explained it to them that the Coke keeps going up. You should have bought more Coke. And the paycheck keeps falling behind. Also, everyone who just bought real estate out there over the last 10 years since I've been on YouTube, take out a loan. Buy some apartments. I mean, as long as it's in the right place. I always like to say beachfront property, the numbers are right, do that. Do everything that you can in this K-shaped economy, okay? Buy assets. Learn about this stuff. Trade equities. So that way you can make your 10 or your 100 into 200. But stop beating up on the kids because it's rough out there. And the elites know this. That's why they say you will own nothing and you're going to be happy. So my advice to you, own everything. And then after you own everything, put it in a trust. Then they can't touch you. And then you can control everything. That's another secret of the rich. But that's what I do here every single day. I teach you about this stuff. And with that, I will see you next week.